and welcome to URC Round number 8 for Russia. We have a big grid today. And yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Russia. I have a win here from one of my own just posting the stream. It's a fun track. I have a win here. Would love to drive, but especially if it's rain. I really like this track in the wet. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting to see what the guys can do. So we can see the timer is starting to trickle down. Here we are then, getting ready for Q1 here in this full qualifying session. Lewis in the chat. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I don't know what to expect from the guys. But I'm gonna guess that Owen, Dan, and Zach are definitely gonna get through. I know Lewis is very quick as well, so I'm expecting Lewis to go through. There we are. And I'm expecting Stooge to be fighting. So we have the first cars on track, and the first car out is an Alpha Tauri with Foskett behind the wheel, which is exciting. And Barbarian has left the session. That's not good. Hopefully Barbarian has realized that and will get back in soon. Worst case, I'll have to send an invite. And obviously Russia is a country at conflict right now with Ukraine. I'm not gonna say much about it, but obviously condolences to anyone who has lost anything in that conflict, without getting too political. That is all I can say. So, Fosket starting a hot lap. And getting down to turn 2. And this is a very tricky one, as if you cut that little dink, you will get invalidated. And the long left-hander down into the 90-degree right-hander, which can be tricky. Oh, it's a couple of 90-degree turns. It's not really that exciting of a lap in the dry. It's pretty darn simple. That being said, you still have to do it though, under the tunnel. And now the final rectangle of 90-degree corners. Fosket coming around the penultimate corner. Now into the final turn. 132.8 from Fosket. Ozan 133.4. Now Street is coming through. And puts it in P2. That's Jonesy now on the mediums, and Lewis Baker a second ahead of Fosket on provisional pole position in the Haas. And Jonesy on the mediums, 32.5, goes P2, but gets put down into third because of servo. Getting into P2, spillage, crossing the line, going P5 for Mercedes. And now we will follow Panda around, as Panda is the furthest one who hasn't set a lap time yet. Actually, yeah. So Panda also on the mediums. There's a couple of drivers on the mediums, trying to save a set of softs maybe to be able to push all out in Q2 and get into Q3. So now then Panda. Actually Uzuri is already on a hot lap. I totally missed Uzuri. So we will go on board with Uzuri, who sets a purple sector 1. Somehow I doubt that. It didn't look to be too amazing. But obviously we will wait and see until the finish line. Oh, Uzuri very loose, to put it into NASCAR terms. Yeah, very shaky through the tunnel. I have lost a lot of time from that. We'll be down in P9. Now we will go on board with Panda, who is coming into that rectangle. Panda goes P9 and Street Pitaku goes P3. On very old tires, so definitely a lot of time. And Owen J. Wilson P2 on the mediums, just behind Luther Beaker. So a very quick once again. Now Zach underneath the tunnel. And we had, I think, Aryan go up into P9. Goes on into P10 with Zach getting P7. That's a weird way of saying 7. Stooge has invalidated. So we will follow Dan around. Dan on the mediums will likely be around that 32 low, 31 high time. And has to be there to show that they can challenge Owen, who just puts in a purple lap, 31.6 on the medium tires. They're only now 2 laps old. Oh, and Dan just goes wide and invalidates. Zach is still pushing, so we will follow Zach around. Maybe they think they can find time here in the 3rd sector. Really pushing hard now. But decides to go into the pits. So David Barry is out behind Pi. Pi currently purple through sector 1. Pi here in the Red Bull, who is currently P7 in the champion. Yeah, P7 in the championship. Gary is saying he wants some crafty moments tonight. And all I can say to that, if you're listening to the stream, is that if the drivers provide me with the action, I can definitely commentate on the action. Pi goes P1 31.5. Very good lap, and now we will quickly go on board with David Barry, who is coming through the 3rd sector. David Barry comes through the final turn and goes P5 on the mediums. 32-3. Now Dan is in the final sector. It's not looking like purple. 31-8. Does not beat Owen Wilson, but is very much up there. Now only 5 minutes remains in this Q1 session. Currently Uzuri, Barbarian, Sharpie and Stooge are out, with Ozen being in the hot seat. But people like Panda and Aryan, maybe even Foskid, probably will have to find some time. And here comes Sharpie, puts it P5, 132.0. And Ozen is now out, but is on a hot lap and is improving. So where can Ozen get to? Oh no, wrong button. I was going to do this one. I'm sorry. Ozen coming through the final 2 turns. Can Ozen get out of the elimination zone? Just goes P15. Now Stooge is also on a hot lap. Can Stooge get out of the elimination zone? 3.5 minutes remain. So you really need to buck up your ideas, especially if you are down in the elimination zone. And Spillage has crashed. Spillage has crashed, and that's not good for the Mercedes driver. And Stooge goes P13, which is definitely not good for Spillage. We will see if we can find anyone on a hot lap. Zach looks to be on a hot lap. We have Panda and Uzuri coming out now. Barbarian also needs to come out if they want to advance to Q2. Zach coming through and goes P6. Definitely secures that spot. And Ozen is going for it again, and so is Panda. They need to find a 10th and a bit. A 32.813 is the time to beat. And Ozen is behind. What about Panda? Panda is very much ahead. Can Ozen on pretty worn tires now, actually. get out of the elimination zone. Barbarian is out of qualifying. Doesn't have the time. Ozan is still behind. Panda. Let's see, Panda down to this. Oh, is very much ahead. Ozan needs to find some time through these last two corners. Oh, Ozan does get it. Ozan is up to P14. Panda P9. And it seems like Spillage is stuck in... I actually don't know what's going on. Uzuri and Owen Wilson goes fastest with a 30.9. Way out in front from Owen J. Wilson. Uzuri is out. Panda is through. But yeah, I think Spillage might be a bit glitched. And Owen had forgotten that it was full qualifying. That's why he put on the soft tires and absolutely belted it. So yeah, that is qualifying 1 over. So, the drivers who are out of Q1 are Barbarian, Uzuri, Aryan, Ozan, and Spillage also goes out. So P15 also went out. Forgive me while I'm doing a bit of math. And my math is correct. Dan can win the championship tonight if Dan outscores Liam, who isn't here. So yeah, it will be against Zach. Because, well, if Dan outscores Liam, if Dan outscores Liam with 17 points, So Dan gets P2 or better. Liam can't win the championship. And let's see. Yeah, if Dan gets P2 or better, he has won the championship. But that is if Liam or Zach doesn't score points. He needs to outscore Zach. By 14 or so points. I'll do the maths just after qualifying. So, a lot of drivers on the medium tires, including Lewis the Beaker, who we are following right now. And Lucy Baker has aborted the lap, which means that who is the next car? Ironcon is the next car. No, Foskett is the next car. No. Yeah, Foskett is the next car. Sorry about this. Foskett does a 32.7 as a benchmark. Ironcon goes P2 and Lewis P3. Owen Wilson goes purple and Jones is straight behind for the Ferrari team. Very good. Owen on the mediums, 31.7. Thanks, Nat. I'm trying my best. Servo has gone P3 on the mediums, 32.7, just ahead of Foskett. Ironcon, and now Panda goes P5. Here comes Pi and goes P3, 32.1 on the mediums. And Street is actually further behind. Lewis has invalidated. Lewis is not having any luck right now. So whilst we're following Street Pitaku, I am gonna make sure my maths are correct. And then I will come back to you. Okay, so to put Liam out of contention means to outscore Liam with 19 points, which means second place and a fastest lap, or first place. So if Dan does that, Liam's out of the race. They can only finish on the same points as Street Pitaku goes P6. And that means 19 plus 4 is 23 points needed to beat... No. 15 points is the other way around. So 15 points to get ahead of or to eliminate Zach from the title race. Which means Dan needs to get P3 or better, with Zach not scoring any points whatsoever. Thanks, Owen. Quick maths. I'm trying. It's very hard to do maths on the fly. But yes. And since Liam isn't racing today, as David Berry goes purple 31.5, very nice. But as Liam isn't racing, if Dan wins, Zach needs to get P. Seven? No. P5 with a fastest lap or better to stay in contention. So it's gonna be very interesting. P5 or better for Zach. Where will he get in Q2? Zach coming through the final couple of corners now. Goes P3, and Lewis has abandoned the medium tires. Sharpie goes P7, gets P7 with a 32.3. Won't be under threat once both Lewis and Dan comes through. So we will go on board with Lewis once again, as David Berry improves to a 31.4. Now then, can Lewis the Beaker get out of that elimination zone? P11 to P14 gets eliminated. Lewis the Beaker is behind his medium time to that first sector, but we should remember that that first sector was fully a fully push sector from Lewis, so no need to worry just yet. Must have made a mistake later on in that lap. Lewis the Beaker now coming through the final couple of turns. To go P2, 31.6, a very nice lap. And we'll go on board with the championship leader and reigning champion and potentially the next champion, Skills Dan. Needs second or better to clinch the championship. Goes P2, 31.5 here in Q2. And now the melee begins with just 4 laps to go of qualifying. Lewis is pushing again for another lap. Doesn't really need it. I think 31.6 is enough. I think if you can get into the 31s, you will be alright. And I've just noticed Servo is 1,000 ahead of Pi. 32.171, 32.172 for those guys. Just shows how close this field is. Lewis the Beaker puts it on provisional pole with a 31.3. Casual. Now Panda in the other half is pushing to get out of the bottom 4. Let's see, opens up that rear wing. And is currently up into P11. Needs to find a little bit more time, Panda, to get through. You do have enough time though. Panda now coming through the final 2 turns. Have they found enough time? Just for P10, but I don't think a 32.3 will be enough. Here comes Sharpie. Up to that per sector split, has found a 10th and a bit, which is more than enough currently. And Panda needs to push once again to get into Q3. Sharpie though on the strategical pole position. A very good position to be in. Sharpie 4 tenths up, is into the 31s. If they can keep it together. Owen Wilson 30.9. A very, very quick time. Sharpie now gets into the 31s, and I think that's a safe position. Panda coming through once again. Have they found enough time? P8, 31.9, very quick lap. And Sherevo 31.7, and now you need to get into the 31s. And Pi is currently out, but I think Pi will improve enough. Pi obviously set that lap time on the mediums, so speed Peter goes well. As the checkered flag has fallen, so Zach, Lewis, David, Dan and Jonesy are all done. Pi currently purple in that second sector. And Jonesy has retired in the pits. Don't mind me. Let's see the guys going into the pits. Pi now crossing the line. 31.5. is more than enough. Stooge has crashed. Pushing very hard. And now Pitaku, or Street Pitaku, coming through the final two turns. Turned in so early and will be out of qualifying. Foskett now coming through, just invalidate. A 32.4 wouldn't have been enough. Will start P14, and that is qualifying 2 over. And we're just waiting for Panda to get into their pit box. Panda with a 31.962. Couldn't get through. So a 31 did not get you through. You needed a bit more. But yeah, as we see, Panda, Pitaku, Stooge and Foskett are all out of Q2. But yeah, once again, just to remind you guys, Dan can win the championship if he gets P2 with a fastest lap or better, and Zach doesn't finish higher than P, I want to say 8 with Dan in P2. I will obviously do the maths at the end of the race with the provisional results. So don't click off just because the race has ended, as I will be crunching numbers to see who has won the champion, or if Dan has won the championship or not. But now we have Q3, the top 10 shootout. And we can see drivers getting out instantly, and it's very overcast. Maybe some rain on the horizon would make Q3 very spicy. But I think it's gonna remain dry. Unfortunately, I'm not Russian, so I can't. I don't know the clouds like a certain driver does. If you get the reference, you have my respect. Now the top 10 shootout. We have Louis de Beeker, who's the first one in this field. We have Owen just behind. Does not want to give any space to Lewis, but I think will back off here in sector 3. Because otherwise it's gonna be very messy. But we will get on board with Louis de Beeker. And Owen is sticking with. Wants that slipstream. Just don't ruin your laps, guys. And each other's laps. Yeah, Owen getting a free toe through turn 1, down to turn 2. Taking very different lines. And Lewis with a very wide line, Owen with a very narrow line. Interesting to see. Owen maybe getting out of that dirty air caused by the Haas. And now, once again, Owen had the opportunity for a free toe, but Owen getting out of it. And it looks like Owen has abandoned the lap. Probably didn't enjoy the dirty air in Sector 2. So Lewis the Beaker is gonna be the fastest right now. So we'll get on board with Dan. 31.1, 33.8. Dan 31.4. Can't beat it. Zach P3. Aaron P4. Jonesy 31.6. Aaron with a 32.1. Pi goes P3, just ahead of their teammate. Servo gets P6, 31.7. David Berry gets P2, 31.4 as well. Lewis the Bigger, a lot quicker. Almost 3/10 ahead. Now we'll get on board with Sharpie on a hot lap. Sharpie waiting a bit until the other guys has set their times, and now has all the space in the world to set their time. And obviously Aaron with that 32.1 would have been out, and Owen 30.9 backed off, got their space that they need, and 30.9 is the provisional pole time right now. Can anyone beat it? Honestly, the only two I see beating it is Lewis and Dan. And I haven't put on the lap data. And Sharpie was apparently quickest in Sector 2, coming through the final two corners now. And the time just runs away. It goes P9. Just behind Servo though. Not far behind at all. Aaron has improved to a 31.8, but still P10. David Berry on another push lap, trying to prove me wrong. Can David Berry get the pole position? Would be very interesting. I have the yellow flag, so I can't see the timer. There's 4 and a bit minutes left to go. of the Q3 session. David Barry aborts it and goes into the pits. Has Sharpie been pushing? Doesn't look like it. And goes into the pits as well. Dan and Zach, the two championship clashers. The two that are racing here today that still have a fight at the championship, or a chance at the championship. Dan, 4 minutes left to go. We'll be looking to improve by about half a second. Does Dan have that in his locker? We've seen throughout the season and last season as well that Dan can pull time out of absolutely nowhere. Let's see if we can manage that today. Going through the long left-hander, took a bit of a wide line. Let's see. He's found a bit of time through sector 1. Needs to find more though to get anything above 4th place. Obviously the race is the important part, but the qualifying sets you up nicely for the race. Let's see how Dan is doing. Has found a little bit more time, but needs to find a lot more. So unless there's been a big mistake from Dan. Then I think Dan is gonna get at best P4. Dan has a bit of time, but doesn't improve. Zach goes into the pits, won't have enough time to get turned around. Zach is at best P6. So we will go on board with David Barry. Actually, Lewis is furthest ahead, so we will go on board with Lewis. Again, Servo is even further ahead. Servo is purple through sector 1. That is very interesting. Let's see if Servo has what it takes. Yeah, Zach is at best P6. I think that Zach is gonna end up in P9. Servo hasn't improved a lot to sector 2. Let's see what Servo can do through sector 3 now. Servo doesn't improve enough. Lewis comes through, doesn't improve at all. David Barry only slightly improves. Not a lot of track evolution, it seems. Aaron Con goes P5, 6 thousandths behind Dan. who will be at best P4. Zach is at best P7. Pi at best P6. Jonesy. Servo has invalidated. Servo is at best P9. We will get on board to capture Owen J. Wilson. The final parts of the lap, which will most likely be the pole position lap. Owen Wilson 30.8 and Jonesy 31.0. Will it be a 1-2 for Ferrari? Has the real life managed to spill into URC? Lewis the Beaker, no. 31.012. Lewis splits the Ferraris, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the starting grid. Owen J. Wilson with a magical 30.8. How on earth he did that, I will never know. So, Owen J. Wilson is on pole position ahead of Lewis the Beaker. Jonesy will start directly behind their teammate in third, and David Berry, the lead McLaren, in P4. Dan is only P5, needs to make something happen in the race. Ironcom P6, Pi is P7, Zach P8, Servo or Cervo is P9 in the McLaren, and Sharpie rounds off the top 10 in the Alpha Tauri. I will take a quick break and I'll be back for the race start. So here we are then for the start of the Grand Prix. Only 10 seconds remain on the timer. One light, two lights, three lights, four lights. The five red lights are on. The lights are out, and away we go for the Russian Grand Prix. Lewis got a great start. Owen is under pressure, and they are 3 wide through turn 1 and now into the first braking zone of turn 2. Owen Wilson on the racing line. Keep it clean, guys. Owen Wilson keeps P1 for now, and we had a Williams going very, very wide. But Lewis and Owen pulling away from the field, and we have a yellow flag as we have Zach. Crucially, Zach is down in last place, P19. How did that happen? I was keeping my eye on this battle for P1. And that Owen Wilson went out and won. Pi now trying to keep Zach in the title battle, overtaking Dan. Oh, goes off the track though and has to give this space back, and Dan is back up into P5 following David Barry. We'll go down to Dan's teammate Piraku. One gets the fastest lap of the race, which marks the end of lap 1. Owen didn't get the best of starts, but managed to keep P1. Getting the preferred line. Now Dan is having a look at David Barry down into turn 2. But can't quite get it done. Now we have a couple of cars wide. Street Pitaku up into P9. Is ahead of Panda and runs wide. Spillage for the Mercedes team. Can't quite get ahead. So then the big winners of the start. You can see Barbarian making a move to get his 6th position. Or their 6th position, sorry. Oh, side by side with those then. Does get out ahead. And that means Barbarian has 6 positions gained from lap 1. Which is incredible. And now DRS is enabled. Hard tire choices. Zach on the hard tires is going to the end unless something happens. Now David Barry. Close to Jonesy. Jonesy dropped back from Lewis the Beaker by quite a lot. There's the predicted strategy, which, yeah, is gonna be pretty easy. And Uzuri gets the first 3-second time penalty of the evening. David Barry is in the train, led by Jonesy. Having a look, but isn't far enough. Alongside the Red Bull of Pi is having a look though. Goes around the outside, but Dan keeps it. Not much movement. Panda. Lewis Baker steals the fastest lap of the race. Now Sharpie closing in. We see the Haas side by side with Street Piraku, but Piraku can't quite get ahead, and now Sharpie is going around the outside and past Panda up into P10. That's crucial. That's a crucial point for Alpha Tauri. Back up to the top now, and David Barry is still following Jonesy. Pi still sizing up as Sharpie has had a moment, and that's a front wing on the track. Oh, Jesus. Sharpie has no front wing, dropping all the way back. Oh, and that's Panda around. Oh, and Panda hits the wall as well, losing front wing. It's been a bad lap for front wings. Now Dan is close to Jonesy, who has been passed by David Barry in all that madness. And now Dan. Oh, and Jonesy getting on warning there for sure. Now has Dan on the outside, will turn to the inside. But Dan can't get it done, and now Pi is having a look as well. In all this fighting, David Barry is waltzing away, probably laughing. We see Panda and Sharpie into the pits for front wings. Interestingly, Panda on softs, Sharpie on the mediums. And that is spillage around. Doesn't look to be any damage on that car though. And of course when I swap, Dan gets ahead. Jonesy is now in P5. Dan is within that second to David Barry, so we'll get the tow. And won't instantly lose the position. Also, Lewis is very, very close to Owen Wilson. The two reserve drivers going extremely quick right now. No one else is even close to them. Foskett and Missouri both go hards. They are going to the end. And Pi, in that second Red Bull, has a 3-second time penalty, which will be crucial. We also know Jonesy is on at least one warning from that small corner cut. Arian with a 3-second time penalty as well. This is a nice little battle for P1. Lewis just staying within that 1 second gap. Dan needs to get in to that 1 second. It's right on that line. I don't think Dan will get it. Now Lewis closing and closing and closing. Doesn't go for it. Jonesy. That's right, Dan didn't get it. Lewis not attacking Owen, just staying with him. And Barbarian is a 3-second time penalty as well. I think we're going to see a lot of those. You see Lewis closing in once again, but not attacking. Playing the long games. Lewis feels that Owen has the pace, and obviously does. So he can just stay behind, save ERS. Falky gets a 3-second time penalty. And Dan is threatening David Berry. Let's see how this ends. Through turn 1. Dan not attacking either. Has a little look to offset David, and David Berry goes deep. David Berry goes deep, and now on the outside isn't alongside, unfortunately. Has a little look and is better through the first part of the turn. David Berry is just fast enough. Let's swap over to Lewis then in the next DRS straight. Let's see how they do. Lewis still just following the Ferrari. Dan does the same to the McLaren. Doesn't go for the move. Street, on the other hand, no. Wasn't quite close enough to make that move work. Dan getting very close through that 90-degree chicane. Now let's see, is Lewis is using some ERS probably to get up to him, but Dan has gone ahead of David Berry. So they have swapped around now, so now it's Owen, Lewis and Dan. Let's see if Dan has the pace to pull up to Owen Wilson and Lewis de Beeker. And we'll follow both battles with great interest. So now again, Lewis de Beeker. Still just following, going with David Berry then. Berry goes around, has the inside and is far enough ahead into this turn. And that is the battle over for now, but Dan will have DRS on the long start and finish straight, as I think that's Jonesy going into the pits. And we can see through turn 1 that Lewis de Beeker has a little look actually, but doesn't go for it. And the same for Dan. Fakes to the right, doesn't quite get that reaction. And we have a yellow flag, and that is Lewis. What has happened there? Oh, Lewis has lost an end plate, and that is not good for Lewis de Beeker. We'll have to repair that from wing. Won't have to double stack with Panda, luckily. But that is Dan up into 3rd place, and currently Zach doesn't have a chance at the championship anymore. If my math is correct. Now now all Dan needs is to get up one more position and steal that fastest lap. And I think Dan is the driver's champion again. David Barry is into the pits, but Dan has continued on for one more lap. So we will see if the undercut is stronger than the overcut. Now it is pedal to the metal for Dan, going as fast as possible for one lap. We'll have the fresher rubber at the end, which is crucial. Lewis the Beaker, after that unlucky, obviously don't know what happened, but unlucky to lose the front wing, down into P11 now. Behind quite a few drivers. We'll have to drive their socks off. I think Lewis the Beaker can get points, but that race win that was looking very likely actually is gonna be very tough to get. Dan now comes towards the pits, and now we will see, as we see Owen as well going into the pits. Now we will go down to David Barry, as this is the battle we are looking out for. David Barry, who is stuck behind spillage, coming through the penultimate, and now the final turn. And David Barry has gotten out ahead of both Owen Wilson and Dan. So the undercut is very, very strong, and now Pi gets out ahead of Dan, or they get out side by side and they don't touch. Dan currently P9, which will be about P5 when the guys who haven't pitted yet goes for it. Now Jonesy ahead of Owen Wilson. Will team orders be used? Will Jonesy race Owen Wilson? Owen obviously with the pace advantage has been one of the two fastest drivers out there. Zach gets a 3-second time penalty, and that is not what Zach needed at all. Zach will now have to hope that Dan doesn't get the P3, so that Zach can still be within the fight. Owen has a look, but can't. Yeah, David Barry, fastest lap of the race, 34.1. Barry currently P3. Will be P1 once everyone pits, and now we have a 3-wide moment going down into turn 2. Owen Wilson is ahead, and both the Ferraris are ahead of the Mercedes driver, who still hasn't pitted yet. He's still on those mediums. It's looking very good for him if a safety car comes out. So is this guy, Street Pitaku, currently in the lead on the medium tires. Now Dan, look, isn't really an overtaking opportunity. Dan easily gets past spillage. And spillage did it very tactically. Got the DRS as well. Now David Barry has caught up with Stooge. And now the question is... Oh, and Zach retires. Zach is out of the race, and that is a safety car. A full course safety car, and that's a very late move to the pits, Stooge. You would get penalized if it's a real race. You definitely would get penalized for it. But everyone is into the pits. Except for the top 4. But crucially, Dan is in. Dan for the soft tires. Only Stooge who had to. And Dan so far. And Lewis goes for the soft tires as well. Adrian comes in. We'll have to go for softs. Panda is in as well, as Sharpie. It's very mixed with the tires. Lewis, Arian, Panda, Sharpie, all on the softs. Iron Con on the mediums. Foskett is debating and does decide to go into the pits. And Usuri is a lap down, so we will see. Obviously, Street Pitaku having to adhere to the Delta now, or still. At least I think they do. Goes into the pits, and now David Barry and Owen Wilson, who didn't have the chance. David Barry stays out, Owen Wilson goes in. I wonder where we have seen this before. David Barry stays out, Owen Wilson goes in. So David Barry is the race leader. Street on the soft tires now. Owen, who couldn't pit last lap, goes in for the soft tires as well. We see everyone going through. Obviously, these guys can absolutely punch it on the pit road. So Owen is in P4 behind Stooge. Stooge has gone from P13 to P10 and Street from P12 to P2. And Barbarian has moved up 14 positions. So the guys on the mediums who held their cool definitely got their money's worth this time. It really worked out. And now gonna be a question of is David Barry's medium gonna hold out against the other guy's softs? The guys on mediums probably didn't trust themselves on the soft tires to get them to the end. But what I have noticed, some people might be forgetting to count laps that you're definitely gonna be behind the safety car. For example, we aren't gonna go racing until lap 17. Yeah, start of lap 17, I think. So it is definitely something you have to consider when making tire choice. But that means we will have 10 race laps or 11 race laps, which the softs can do around here. They will maybe be a bit dicey at the end, but it's not gonna be punctured territory, and especially yes, you're doing a couple of laps more than that, but it's basically gonna be 3, 4, maybe 5% tire wear if you get them new, so it's not gonna be a struggle for anyone. We're just waiting for the last couple of guys. But the grid is very mixed up. David Barry, obviously one of the top guys, has been near the top the whole race. Street Pitaku started midfield, and so did Stooge, but they are up here, and they don't have to stop again. So Owen, Jonesy, Ozen, Dan, Pi, Lewis, they all have to pass these guys. As we see Usuri aiming for the Russian Space Agency with that flight over the curb. Ah, please use that in your highlights, guys. But the safety car is in this lap. David Barry will be backing up the grid. Doesn't do much backing up. And has gone. So David Barry leads the field straight. And now we will see a first inkling of how the soft tires will do against David Barry's mediums. And Dan has already moved up. We gave it, yes. The Street Pitaku on the soft tires. How well will he do? Obviously Stooge as well. Stooge, though, a big question mark on that, as Stooge gets passed by Owen Wilson, because Stooge definitely went on the wrong side of that bollard to get into the pits. So it's definitely a big question mark around that one. And Lewis the Beaker gets a 3-second time penalty. Just puts salt into the wounds. And Aryan, another 3-second time penalty. And David Barry is actually faring pretty well against Street, but we will see when Owen J. Wilson gets up. Has gotten very close to Street, who overshot that turn there. Very good description of which turn it was. But yeah, Owen Wilson now getting very close, pushing. Has a look, is side by side. Oh, and spins on Street Pitaku. The Alfa Romeo has taken out the Ferrari, and Owen does not go around the markings. Owen probably fuming in that helmet right now. Owen lights up the tires and spins, and luckily ghosts for the other drivers. Owen Wilson has had a horrible lap 18. Definitely one to forget. And now Dan is getting very close to Jones in. I wonder if Owen did that on purpose. Definitely something they might have to look into, but Dan really trying to get by Jonesy. It's soft versus mediums. And I honestly don't think it's that big of a difference between the tires. At least in race pace. And Uzuri has retired. And that's another safety car. And now the guys on mediums surely pits for softs. Or do they? It's only gonna be 5 laps, 5 or 6 laps remaining. Can you defend for that amount of time? David Barry obviously fuming, having gotten 7 seconds ahead. Not 7 seconds, 2 seconds ahead. I was looking at the laps you have on the mediums. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I had 2 seconds down to Street Pitaku, and now it's reduced to nothing again, and we'll have to defend again from the soft tires of Pitaku and Stooge. And Dan also probably annoyed after being so close to Jonesy. And not being able to make the move. Sharpie and Ironcon will be able to get back up to the field, so they are definitely not unhappy. And Sharpie gets a drive-through for speeding. Who goes into the base? Oh, Stooge goes. Pitaku faked. And almost touched as well. And Sharpie, another? Is that 2 drive? And it's 4 drivers pitting, 2 of which is on mediums. And yeah, I think that one is bugged because I don't think Sharpie got 3 penalties. Sharpie, remember, you can't serve it under safety car. And Sharpie gets disqualified. So he did get them. He gets disqualified on purpose then. And that's P19 confirmed. Very annoyed at themselves. But yeah, they just kept speeding under the safety car and eventually got disqualified. Now Stooge is P11, just outside the points. Honestly, if I was Stooge, I would have stayed out on those older softs. I think you could have held out. But to be fair, you have a lot fresher rubber than Foskett. Also the mediums, Panda, Spillage. I don't think Stooge is gonna get to Lewis the Beaker. Lewis is faster, obviously. No, obviously I know him from the Raft Racing League, where I have been both commentating and racing. So yeah, I don't think Stooge will get up to there, but I think Stooge is on for a P8 here. Depending on, we're gonna have one more lap under safety car, which is a bit we'll go racing on lap 22 then. The penalties are a lot of 3 seconds, a lot of 6 seconds, and 12 seconds. Yeah, I am not gonna do the maths. for where everyone finishes. I am gonna let the game take care of that, but currently Dan is in P3, which would make Zach not be able to win the championship. It's gonna be very interesting, and obviously with the 6-lap sprint to the end, it's gonna be very interesting to see who can keep the car on the track between the white lines. Obviously, drivers like David Barry, Jonesy, Dan might be on 2 warnings, and then only one mistake can cost you 3 seconds. We know Jonesy is on at least 1, as we caught one of them. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. We're definitely going to go racing this lap. And there is the confirmation. Safety car is in, and now David Barry is in control of the pace a bit earlier than last time. Don't hit each other, boys. Guys. Weaving to get the heat into the tires, so when David Barry goes like he has done, and Barbarian gets a 3-second time penalty, and that's 6 seconds, and that will help Dan. And Jones is out. Jones spins on the start finishing straight, and Stooge has also spinned it, so Stooge is not getting points. That's not gonna be a safety car though, because it's so close to this one. But David Barry is absolutely bolted, and this is Dan up into P2, which is 18 points, needs 1 more, and he is the champion. So, who has the fastest lap right now? How do I even check that gap? There. Lewis the Beaker has the fastest lap currently with a 33.8. If Dan can find a 10th, he is the champion. But he also needs to be able to stay within 3 seconds of Street, who will probably back off and give the time to Dan, if Dan just can get ahead of Barbarian. And now Stooge has retired. Stooge crashing under the tunnel, and that's another safety car. And David Barry is probably hitting his wheel in frustration right now, again pulling out a 2-second gap and just not getting anything out of it with another safety car. This one is probably gonna go in lap 24 already. Which means we will have 3 laps. Which means 1 lap of 2 DRS zones to make a pass. 2 laps unaided. It might go in this lap, which would mean 4 laps and 2 laps of DRS. But I think it is gonna stay out 1 lap. But the current order is David Barry winning, Dan in P2, and I think Street is in P3, Lewis P4, Spillage P5, Spillage P4, Lewis P5, Barbarian Pie P6 and 7, something like that. That's my best guesstimate of where everyone is currently. Obviously a big credit to David Berry, Dan, Spillage, Ozan and Iron Con for not picking up any penalties so far. Now let's see. The safety car is going to stay out for one lap, which means 3-lap sprint, 1 lap of DRS to get the move done. And this guy right here is the main guy in focus. If he gets up into P2, or rather can stay within 3 seconds of Street Pitaku and 6 seconds of Barbarian, and pick up that fastest lap, he's the champion. But he needs that fastest lap as well, otherwise he needs to pass Street Pitaku and David Berry to be crowned champion. Otherwise it is a mathematical possibility that Liam wins the championship. Because it differs 33 points. Going to pick up. Yeah, so if it ends like this, so Dan gets P2 without the fastest lap. If Liam wins both races with the fastest laps and Dan doesn't score any points, Liam becomes champion. Which means Dan's will only need to score 2 points in either Canada or Bahrain to become the champion of everything. No, champion of URC. And there we are, safety car in this lap. Racing is gonna begin on lap 25. DRS is gonna be available lap 27. It's gonna be a sprint to the end. Right, we're gonna follow David Berry once again. Getting to practice these race restarts now. Can Street manage to follow David Berry? David Berry has bolted once again in roughly the same spot, and Street is definitely and has a loose end there, but it's definitely on David Berry. Definitely managed to see what he was going to do, since he has done the same thing. Dan has a look but can't get close enough, but gets very close through the turns, and now through the long left-hander. Is on the inside, will be on the outside for this turn here. Oh, manages to stay on track. Pi gets a 3-second time penalty. That will not change anything. Obviously, if Street can overtake David Berry and help Dan overtake David, then he could possibly win this, and then he is definitely champion. And Dan doesn't seem to have the straight line speed. As I have left the menu on, that's a rookie mistake. Barbarian defending as much as possible. Now then, I'm gonna guess that Dan is gonna be pushing for everything to get by Barbarian, but just doesn't have the speed. Gets close, oh, and gets a 3-second time penalty when Barbarian closes the door. And now Pi is close to Dan, and that is not what Dan needed. This will mean Dan is now currently P3. And we'll need team orders to get ahead. And Ironcon has retired. That's not gonna be anything because we are on the penultimate lap. Dan just doesn't have the straight line speed. It's very good through the corners, but just isn't fast enough. And Lewis the Beaker is in P6. Will be P5 at least. David Barry has pulled away and is now leading as we have DRS enabled. And this helps Dan. Dan opens up the DRS, obviously 2 DRS zones as the detection point is just by the start finishing straight. So now Dan is in P3, only needs to get by his teammate to and also get the fastest lap to be crowned champion. Actually, yeah. Well, it depends on countback, I think. It might be. A street pinnacle picks up a 3-second time penalty. Dan is now in P2 once again. Was that tactical? Was that on purpose? Or was it just a mistake from Street Pinnacle to give Dan P2? Can Dan get the fastest lap of the race? We will go on board with David Barry, who has done amazingly. Hasn't been the fastest, but has been so consistent. And David Barry crosses the line to win the Russian Grand Prix. Street Pinnacle. Dan doesn't get the fastest lap. Will. Oh, and Spillage gets P2, so Dan does not get the satisfaction of only needing to score 2 points. Spillage, P2 driver of the day, according to the game. Very good race from David Barry. Definitely deserved the winner after everything that happened. But yeah, David Barry winning, and a Spillage. Dan gets P3 by about 7 tenths. Lewis the Beaker P4, and Lewis in the chat also saying GG to everyone. Definitely agree. Ozan gets P5, Street P6, Cherbo P7, Panda P8, Barbarian P9, Pi gets P10, Fosket P11, Arian P12, Iron Kong P13, Stooge 14th, Jonesy 15th, Usuri, Owen, Zach, Sharp P, and all DNF'd. So did Stooge. Yeah, I'm quickly gonna do some maths then, with Dan finishing P3, expanding that to 15, another 15 points. 137 points. Will need to Liam will have to outscore Dan with 22 points to be able to be crowned champion. Zach is mathematically out of the race. So it comes down to two final races. Dan versus Liam. Alfa Romeo versus Mercedes. Of who will win the championship. My driver of the day from this race. Either David Barry or Spillage. David Barry, obviously a very good race. Spillage from P15 to P2 can't be ignored, obviously. So yeah, I will honestly have to say Spillage, with a big shout out to David Barry. But that has been URC round 8. We have 2 more rounds to go, and don't miss it for the love of all in the world, as we have a very big title fight going on. That will go down at least one more race. I have been Jesper, and I will see you same place, same time. Enjoy your nights, guys, and stay safe.